The film opens with Larry and Joan driving together on their way to the gender reveal celebration for their future grandchild. Right before they enter the house, Larry tells Joan that it is time for them to finally tell their children about his health condition. Once inside, the family looks through a few old photographs belonging to Joan, including a picture of her first husband, Luke. When the grandchild asks about him, Joan explains that Luke was killed in the war. Not long after, Larry begins eating, but he suddenly starts choking. He loses consciousness and dies on the spot. After his death, a younger version of Larry awakens inside a train. He watches the passengers disembark at a station and decides to follow them, only to find himself in a place crowded with unfamiliar people. Someone tells him that his afterlife coordinator will handle everything, which leaves Larry even more confused. When he approaches the reception desk, the staff repeats that the full explanation will be given by his coordinator. As the crowd begins to disperse, Larry's coordinator finally arrives. She is a woman named Anna. Gently, she tells Larry that he is dead. Larry refuses to believe her, so Anna shows him his reflection, which appears much younger. She explains that everyone arrives here in the form they were happiest in during their life. Instead of focusing on himself, Larry immediately worries about Joan and his family, which frustrates Anna to the point that she slaps him to make him accept reality. She clarifies that this place is not heaven, but rather a realm of eternity. She warns him not to go through the red door and shows him the temporary room he will stay in while he chooses a world for his eternal existence. Anna gives him a list of possible worlds and leaves. Larry briefly watches a strange advertisement on the television, then explores the station. He stops at a bar where a woman tries to persuade him to choose her pleasure-filled eternal world. Soon after, Larry meets Luke, who now works as a bartender. Luke asks Larry about his plans and explains that once someone chooses their eternal world, the decision is permanent. If they break the rules, they are cast into nothingness. Larry then confides in him that Joan is suffering from a serious illness and that he regrets not being able to stay by her side during her final days. The next morning, Anna wakes Larry. When he asks why people still have jobs in the afterlife, Anna explains that many of them are waiting for someone they love or have not yet chosen their eternal world. She also tells him that if he decides to stay, he will be assigned work as a janitor and will live in the basement. Days pass, and Larry continues waiting for Joan. He carefully prepares everything so she will feel comfortable when she arrives. Seeing the depth of Larry's devotion moves Anna deeply. In the end, Larry chooses his eternal world. Meanwhile, in the real world, Joan passes away peacefully in the hospital, surrounded by her family. She then awakens on the same train where Larry once found himself. As Larry heads toward the station platform, he spots Joan riding the escalator. He immediately runs to her, calls her name, and pulls her into a tight embrace. From a distance, Anna watches the reunion with deep emotion. Suddenly, Luke arrives to greet them. Larry first tries to introduce him as a bartender he knows, but instantly realizes that Joan already recognizes the man. Luke is her first husband. Joan is stunned to see Luke in his youthful form again after so many decades. Now she faces something she never imagined possible. She must choose between two men she has loved in different parts of her life, Larry and Luke. Her afterlife assistant helps her prepare clothes for the day, but Joan becomes even more confused because both men appear young and charming. She asks for guidance, yet the assistant assures her that she is fully capable of deciding on her own. Meanwhile, Larry and Anna discuss how complicated the situation has become. Anna admits that Luke is indeed very charismatic and has been waiting for more than a decade to be reunited with the woman he once loved. Larry and Anna begin forming a plan. They hope to explain to Joan that Larry is the one who spent most of her life by her side, building a family, raising children, and sharing a lifetime together. Joan finally sits down with Luke, but both of them struggle to begin a conversation. The tension breaks when security staff pass by while trying to catch someone attempting to run away from their lawyer. Luke uses the moment to explain the rules of the afterlife world, then admits openly that he still loves Joan, a feeling he has held on to for decades. He says he only wants a chance to be with her again.
Joan becomes overwhelmed with emotion, to the point of feeling nauseated, and asks for time to compose herself. Wanting to be fair to Luke, she prepares herself to speak with him again, but instead of Luke, Larry appears. He brings brochures of eternal worlds, and Joan complains that everything feels chaotic. To calm her, Larry tells her to do a squat. It is a simple gesture, something they could not do together in their old age. The movement makes Joan laugh and relax. Larry steps back, promising they'll talk again soon. He tries to stay in Joan's room, but she asks him to leave. However, Larry's 7-day period has expired, meaning he cannot return to his own room. Anna escorts him away, and Larry mentions that Joan has always loved Dean Martin's voice. Anna says she will try to arrange something. Soon after, Anna leads Joan to a small room where Larry has prepared a surprise. He invites her to a Dean Martin performance in the afterlife. Joan looks delighted, but the singer turns out to be a poor impersonator who even falls off the stage. When Larry complains to Anna, the Dean Martin impersonator starts flirting with Joan. Suddenly, Luke appears, punches the man, and offers Joan flowers. This sparks a heated argument between Luke and Larry. Frustrated, Joan orders the afterlife assistants to escort her to her room. She asks for time to speak with them privately. Luke and Larry are told to wait outside. Elsewhere, Anna and Brian report the complicated situation to their superior. Shortly after, Larry and Luke are summoned again. Anna explains that Joan has been granted a special visa. She will be allowed to visit one eternal world from each man, and after those 2 visits, she must decide who will accompany her for eternity. A coin toss determines who takes her first. Luke wins and brings Joan to a place called Mount Moore. When they arrive, Luke is captivated by the breathtaking view, while Joan can't help but glancing at him with admiration. They spend the day crossing bridges, walking along the riverbank, and rekindling emotions they once shared, feelings that never truly faded. Meanwhile, Larry grows anxious because Luke told Joan the story of his heroic death in the war. He fears he cannot compete with the powerful memories Joan has of Luke. Anna reassures him and asks Larry to think about the things that once made Joan fall in love with him. Inspired, Larry sets out to find someone who might help him. As Luke and Joan enjoy their journey together, Joan continues speaking about her family, her children, and her grandchildren. A sense of guilt arises in her because Larry waited for her 67 years, while she remarried only 2 years after Luke was killed in the war. Luke responds honestly. What hurts him is not that Joan married again, but that he never experienced a life like that with her. Joan then reveals something heartfelt. After the war, she actually waited for Luke, convinced he was still alive. Luke takes her to the memory archive. There, they hold hands and revisit their love story, their first meeting, their first lunch together, the proposal, their first kiss, their wedding day, and the emotional moment when Luke left for the battlefield. The overwhelming emotions finally push them into a kiss, something they had held back for decades. When they exit the archive, a new memory appears. Luke has never seen it before. The memory shows Larry proposing to Joan at the very same spot where Luke had said his final goodbye before leaving for the war. The scene shakes Luke deeply. Meanwhile, Larry visits Karen, Joan's best friend, who has recently passed away. He asks her what made Joan fall in love with him. Karen does not know the exact reason, but she is certain of one thing. Larry made Joan happy. Elsewhere, Luke asks in frustration, did Joan really accept Larry's proposal? While Joan was still grieving, she had been unable to give an answer, and that makes Luke furious. He storms away. At the same time, Larry secretly sneaks into Luke's room to search for something he suspects Luke has been hiding. His search turns up nothing. As he is about to leave, Luke appears. The 2 men end up arguing over who is more deserving of Joan. In the middle of their fight, a folded letter slips out of Larry's pocket. Not long after, Joan joins Larry for a visit to his chosen eternal world, a peaceful beach. Their calm moment is interrupted by a noisy child nearby, so they move to a small boat. Joan asks Larry to understand the difficult position she is in, but Larry says he cannot. He swears he will wait for Joan for as long as it takes. The conversation escalates into a heated argument. Meanwhile, Luke finds the letter that fell from Larry's pocket. It is addressed to Joan. Larry later brings Joan back to the memory archive. Afterward, they sit together on the beach. Joan thanks Larry for giving her a warm and loving life. Their tenderness leads to a quiet kiss in the bedroom. The silence is broken when Anna, Brian, and Luke burst into the room carrying the letter. The letter reveals that Larry had planned to enter his eternal world without Joan, something shocking and deeply hurtful to her. A fierce argument erupts. Joan accuses Larry of being unable to wait even a single week for her decision. Larry finally snaps. He confesses that he has always felt Joan loved Luke more deeply than she ever loved him. Everyone praises Luke as though he were perfect, and Larry cannot stand it anymore. Luke then reveals the truth. He is not the ideal man people think he was. He admits that he had affairs with many women. He insists he was far from perfect. In the end, both Larry and Luke beg Joan to make a decision. They can no longer bear the uncertainty. Joan collapses into tears. Karen appears to comfort her. Meanwhile, Larry and Luke end up sitting together at a bar, sharing drinks. Strangely, their conversation helps them understand each other. Larry admires Luke's courage for fighting in Korea, while Luke praises Larry for raising a family and giving Joan happiness throughout her long life. They speak about Joan with deep respect. Karen advises Joan to stop worrying about the two men. Joan is no longer alive. This is the afterlife. She has no obligation to anyone anymore. The next morning, Joan meets Brian and tells him she has made her decision. Larry and Luke wait anxiously. Joan tells Larry that after Luke died, she never thought she would survive even one more day, but Larry helped her find joy again. She then thanks Luke for making her feel valued during the short but meaningful time they shared. Finally, Joan announces the decision she has thought about carefully. She chooses not to choose either of them. Everyone falls silent in shock. Joan explains that choosing one would break the heart of the other, and she loves them both far too much to let that happen. The next day, Joan decides to go to Paris with Karen. Meanwhile, Larry and Luke spend time together, speaking honestly with one another. Larry reveals that Luke was the last person near him when he died in the real world. Larry had suffered shortness of breath during the family gender reveal gathering. Luke laughs as he recalls his most treasured memory with Joan, the moment they were preparing to start a family. Larry shares his favorite memory of Joan being pregnant with their second child and smiling after secretly tasting wine, even though the doctor had forbidden it. In the middle of their conversation, a sudden realization strikes Larry, and he immediately runs off. He rushes to the train where Joan is waiting. There, Larry tells Joan that she looks beautiful with her new hairstyle, and admits that Luke truly deserves to be by her side. Luke has a vibrant spirit and deserves more time with her. Larry says that seeing Joan happy is enough to make him happy. Joan embraces him in tears. Luke and Joan then board the train together to begin their eternal life. Larry remains behind, confident that he has made the right choice. Soon after, Larry meets Anna and Brian, who are now officially a couple. Anna expresses how proud she is of him and thanks him for helping her better understand herself in the afterlife. Larry tells her that he has chosen his own eternal world. Meanwhile, Luke and Joan begin their new life they selected. They spend their days playing, meeting new people, and enjoying their love. Yet night after night, Joan's thoughts drift back to Larry. Each night she sneaks into the archive to watch fragments of her memories with him. Slowly she begins to feel uncomfortable around Luke. Luke excitedly plans a hot air balloon tour, but Joan finally admits she has made a terrible mistake. She assures Luke that it is not his fault. The fault is hers alone. She must leave. Luke warns her that passing through the red door will banish her into eternal emptiness. He begs her to stay. Joan says she loves him, yet she still has to go. Luke walks away in silence with a shattered heart. Determined, Joan decides to steal the key guarded by Finney. With a knife in hand, she prepares to take it. Luke appears and tells Joan he knows she needs help. He pretends to cry in front of Finney to distract him, giving Joan the chance to slip inside. Luke then follows her into the archive. Together, they watch their wedding memory one last time. After that, Luke and Joan part ways. Joan runs as the guards approach. She crawls across the train tracks and slips between moving trains to escape. Reaching the reception desk, she asks which eternal world Larry has chosen, but alarms immediately go off. Joan flees again and unexpectedly encounters Anna and Brian. Shocked but moved, they help divert the guards so Joan can escape. Joan arrives at a bar where Larry works as a bartender. There, she realizes something important. Larry never left. He never entered any eternal world. He stayed. Joan tells him she knows one place they can go. Larry hesitates for a moment, then agrees to leave with her. They escape to an eternal world that has long been dormant, a hidden place where no one can find them. Joan and Larry finally live together forever. And this is where the story ends.